So I'm out in New Jersey, Hunterdon County area, and I got an invite, or invited myself and was accepted to go visit the old Smith family farm, or homestead, whatever you want to call it, built in 1750, which is wild because the state of Iowa that I live in is 100 years younger than this house. Like, you can't find any architecture in Iowa that's this old. The closest you get is like the Mississippi River, and that isn't even within a hair's breadth of what this property is. So the fact that this property still exists, and we've been able to find out where 8th great grandfather lives, and that it's still standing, and that it's in good condition, is just mind-blowing for a history nerd, right? So I'm just excited to go there, meet the people who live there, kind of see what remains, and learn a little bit about like where it came from and how these people lived and what it was like. And I don't know, if you've ever done anything with old houses before, like the bones of the house tell the stories. And so it'll be interesting to see the bones and the foundations and the rocks and everything that they use. So I'm excited. This is me excited. It's funny to still see Smiths around in this area 300 years later. So I found this map. It's the descendants of John Smith, and it shows the partitioning of his land, which was about 1,200 acres after he died. Now, just to the northeast of the property where the house is located, you'll see the name Cornelius Bouman. Now, Cornelius Bouman was the first son of Thomas Bouman, who built his house in a Dutch style around 1741, 9 years before John Smith built his. So what I thought is that they turned that property into a museum now, that it's monitored and maintained by the Reddington Township. And it's really cool because they actually can go there and have barn dances and see how life was like in the 18th century. So I thought I'd swing over and give it a quick visit. So what's cool about this place, the Bouman-Stickney place, or Stickley place, is that it still kind of looks and feels like it might have looked like on Johannes's farm just a couple blocks away back in the day. You can see the smaller barn there, the stone foundation, the larger barn over here. Now, what's interesting about this place is that it's also kind of has the Dutch gambrel style roof, which the Smith house doesn't have. So maybe the Smiths were in fact German and not Dutch. Just kind of see the roof line, the full stone facade on the exterior, which you can only see parts of. The rest of it's covered up. On the Smith house, you can also see up top, they didn't use the brick chimney, they went stone all the way. And then they did like a shake exterior. No, they did stone. Oh, sorry, stone exterior on the entire house here, which is kind of cool. So, I don't know. It's fun to see, kind of imagine these things. You can see in their house a little bit here. Kind of get a imagining of what things might have looked like.
building these houses, not everyone knew English.
True.
And they would literally mark each beam with a Roman numeral in order to, like, here it is, and we can't confuse it.
And you said that the markings on the side here, that's just because they were all hand cut?
Yeah, that's hand hewn beams, and that's definitely what you would love to read about with Eric Sloan books. So you can see this notch and peg. That'll be the same down there where they most likely had a brace back in the day.
That is cool. Oh, yeah, look at that. That is super cool. So, this would have been on the ground originally? No. No, this...
I think it would have been somewhere along this stream.
So
and we could walk over there if you have a minute or whatever.
Yeah.
And show you.
So that,
Can you get the gate, Jim?
this would have been upright in the stream. The cogs are,
yeah.
The wheels being turned by the power of that stream. And it had like a giant beam in the middle there that's going to be grinding wheat or grinding grain or flax or whatever it is.
Yeah, I would think.
Wow.
I'm thinking this is vertical because of the gear part of it on it.
Yeah.
But, you know how they had, and you'll see that in the Eric Sloan books, they had all different types of water wheels where the water would come from the top and spin the top stone or this or that, and stuff would shed off.
Yeah.
And they'd adjust the thicknesses. I just thought because of the gear, I really didn't do enough research. There is, with that Stephanie Smith, I think there is 5 or 6 different mills that were in Reddington at the time. Yeah. The carriages would come in from the road, or the wagons, and this is where they would stop. And you have the well here.
So the stepping stone is literally so they don't have to step in the mud?
Yeah, you park here and you're stepping here.
Okay, so they thought that this might be the back of the house here at some point?
I've heard it both ways, but I mean, it's the front now because it faces the road, right? The road was a dirt road up until the 50s.
And this all was,
60s.
all this stone here was all part of it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically, the only thing that's new here is the fence. And that's a couple months old, but again, we bought weathered stuff to blend it in.
Wow. Cool.
Someone poured this in the 50s.
Okay.
Okay, and this is pretty old gutter too, and it's very heavy. And they had clay pipe, and the clay pipe goes to here, but it was broken and it was kind of in the fence line. So I got rid of the broken pieces, and I'll connect it and let the water drain away. But I have a feeling a lot of stuff was done in 50, like the kitchen, adding electric and stuff like that. Let's go a long way.
So where do you think they quarried all this stone from?
This is around.
It is?
Like when you go up on Drayhook and stuff, this is here. So that's the back of the beehive oven.
Okay.
And I can.
So would it have had originally, how would it have vented out, or?
This would have looked like a half an igloo.
Okay.
Brick igloo would have come out of here. And when you hear about like brick oven pizza and stuff that, right? So when they build this, and it's like a half of an igloo, they'll put the fire in the back, and the fire goes up and it goes across the top of the ceiling, and then the smoke comes out and goes out. So that ceiling will be like 800 or 900 degrees.
Yeah.
So when you put stuff in there, you can cook stuff really fast. Like a pizza, they put it in there, they spin it, it's done in like 90 seconds. You build the fire, and then you push the coals to the side, let it go down, and then you could literally put a loaf of bread in there and have that basic constant temperature from the stone that's so hot, and it would bake the bread in there.
So this is that little corner that we were looking at that you cleared out with.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
The wood stove would be here. There's the that little arch that you saw.
Yeah.
That's that, and the other fireplace from the other room would be over here.
And they would have stoked it they would have fed it all from the outside of the house?
No, inside.
Okay.
You know what? There could have been another one on the outside too.
Yeah.
But then you're venting right here.
Right.
Okay. So they definitely did some of it from the inside.
So what's the point of like taking the foundation all the way up high here?
Well, that's the chimneys. The fire boxes are inside.
Right.
And that's our bedroom window, and that's our bedroom window, and the chimney is between those two.
Oh,
like I can, in the chimney steps, where it comes up, and there's a step, and then there's another step, and I could step right near that shutter is, and it just goes all the way up to the attic. I mean, it's just a massive stone right here.
That's
that up. House we have as a hand dug well also, and that's where we get our water. So this is from the horse saddle, and I found this just right here down on the edge. So do you want to grab that other side?
Yeah, let's do this.
No, like right there,
opposite
me. There's a beam in the center. And I showed the kids.
Whoa.
I said, take a look. You don't want to fall in there. So don't go up on there anymore. And they never did.
So is this the original well?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So this is about 20. The lake one I think is 17 feet, and I think this one is 26 feet. But you can see like that was probably the height. Then they added this cement part around, and then some more stone.
Okay.
You know?
Dude, how cool is that?
So you can see there was a wall here, and then that wall's bashed up a bit. But they said this is where the driveway was.
Right up through here?
Right through here, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And this was a one-lane dirt road. And technically, when we bought the house, we own this road, which is like, it's not on the easement, like our property line goes to the other side of the road, which we know we're not claiming the road or anything like that, but it did held up the closing for
because you need to get the easement.
A week or two.
Is this, you said this would have been a creek over here?
This is the Pleasant Run.
Okay. And this is where they would have potentially had that water for the... Okay, yeah. Would that have been sufficient enough I guess it's different back then, how much water flow.
Build a pond. You'd have a pond, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd open the sluice and get the volume of water going.
Oh, I gotcha.
Especially ones that are kind of muddy.
Mm-hmm.
Were kind of straight from your driver's side.
Yeah.
Like underneath those shrubs, like where your front and back wheel on the driver's side are. There was stone there from the original barn, and we extended the driveway because the kids were driving and that kind of stuff. And someone gave me some walnut, and I'm gonna bring that to a guy to get milled up and stuff. But you know, always something.
So you're thinking is that the barn wall would have been right here where the car is.
Yeah, I'll show you. And here's some of the stones also. So right here, you see this kind of hole?
Yeah.
That's where a stone fell out of.
Uh-huh.
So the barn was over here, and this grade kind of sloped down. And then there was like maybe 4 or 5 feet, not enough to have a car or anything. It slopes up all the way to the neighbor's yard, and you know, we can go up this way if you want for a minute or two.
Do you have any idea how like big the barn would have been?
No, I don't have any drawings or lot or anything. This is
cool.
you know, that's a mound for the septic. Here's a hand one where you would use this to kind of refine a little bit more.
So okay, so this was on purpose curved.
Oh yeah.
With one edge beveled.
One edge beveled, so
one straight.
No bevel there, and a bevel there.
And you would try your best to chop it and keep it.
They were good.
Whew.
They were really good at I mean,
wow.
You wanted to make the beam nice and square so you could.
Yeah, so you could have what you have in the house.
You could have, you know, it was less work later.
And this one you said was just for kind of carving it out?
Yeah, that's, you know, for smaller stuff when you're just kind of chopping away, whatever. Like, I think this is rebar, so someone made this.
But similar, and then you would have taken that hook thing that you had and it would be able to adjust it.
Yeah, like if you had something up here, the drippings would go into there and different things. So that is a gardening hoe right here.
Right.
We don't need to. But these, the head is going out. So these different ones are for different things. So you'd have that, and you would swing it like this and try to chisel off the top and smooth it out.
Mm-hmm.
And that one's got that head for that, and this one's got this head. And some of them are a little more scooped, and some of them are a little more flat. Yeah. You know.
Where they just had to make all these? I guess they'd have them blacksmith somewhere around.
Yeah, and you got to think, oh, it's so primitive or this and that. It's like everyone that's ever lived in this world has been in the modern times. It's just not as modern as what we have right now. But they didn't have time to waste. Yeah. They couldn't go to somewhere. They had to go and do it themselves, or you know, it's like I mentioned with the candle. That was expensive having a candle. So this one doesn't look quite as old.
Same rough concept. It just shows you people continue to use the same design for.
Yeah. And in the Eric Sloan book, you would see a German one, a Dutch one, 1750 to 1780, then a refinement on those. You know?
That's what I was kind of wondering, like figuring out whether they were German or Dutch. Is there anything about the house itself that says Dutch style, German style?
Well, it doesn't have a Dutch gambrel roof, which is like that kind of roof, but nothing that I saw specifically. This is not one of them. I have another smaller one that is more like a broad axe.
Oh yeah, I see them using that when they're building those straw bale houses.
Yeah.
But they're using chainsaws.
Yeah,
And this
or when they had a big, like a haystack.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and part of the things with back then is like you cut the hay, you let it dry, you turn the hay, let it dry, then you put the hay in the wagon, then you put it in a stack, and then you got to get it from the stack to the barn. You got to handle it 5, 6, 7, 8 times before it goes into the mouth of the animal or used for bedding or whatever. They were efficient. They did not have time to like, oh, we're just going to keep handling it. No,
Right.
I've got a million other things to do. So they figured out ways, as crude as they are in comparison to what we have, how to do stuff. And because everyone's like, oh, how did they do it? It's like they, you know,
That's the Dutch and the German for you.
they figured out. They didn't want to handle it 8 times, 7 or 6, or the least amount possible.
Is this what you're saying on that pit saw? Like the guy
Yeah,
down in the hole
exactly. And
and
it'd be
pulling
one
it
guy
down?
on top. I don't have one of those saws, but basically it kind of looks like this one. It has a big handle there.
Yeah.
And another handle on the other side where you're like,
Yeah.
and the guy in the bottom is just getting hammered with sawdust.
Imagine the day of worker doing that all day.
Oh,
Oh my, these guys just wiry,
and
strong.
my shoulders are shot as it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, how old is one piece of iron versus another?
So these are just old pulleys out of the old barn.
Yeah, that's probably not real old. That's a race from a bearing, so that's not real old. Some pins, you know,
Yeah.
bolts, nails and stuff. Plenty of coal. Like here's one of the, like kind of like a telephone pole spike, you know, that kind of stuff. But
Man after my own heart, Bob.
here's a nail, like an old nail there, an old spike, you know, something like that.
Just thinking about it, they had to make every single nail by hand.
Yeah, someone was making the nails in order to, so you could plow the fields and
And so they're having to what, mine ore and smelt and like, or
it was a community.
yeah.
You know, there's a square one, so probably put that somewhere in the barn. I haven't got this dated yet.
Oh, that's cool.
But-
This is from 1730s.
No, this probably is not. The oldest letter I have is 1730s. But when I see something like that, I'm like, yeah, this is, someone was drawing this, like in the field.
It's funny because I went into Rutgers to their special collections division, and they have pencil and color sketches from the Smith family reunions of people who, the descendants of the people here,
Really?
from like the 1800s and things like that. It's really cool.
1774, I think. No, this is not that. This is not that old. Usually the date is near the top, but it's hard to read.
John Harriman.
Yeah, I think he might have been part of that. You know, Harriman. Maybe that is 29. But the one is the year of our. It says like the year of our Lord. Oh, 1732. There it is.
Where'd you get this?
I got it at a sale in a metal box.
And you think this is? You said it was from Vermont.
No, Westfield, New Jersey.
Oh, I gotcha.
So this is Captain Clark, the one that you saw. Where?